And just as I was typing Bill Belichick in, there's a live Bill Belichick press conference. Now, many of you probably don't care about Bill Belichick at all. You could be UNC fans, you could be New England fans, or not. Or you could just be following along for the schadenfreude of the let's call it what it is, the fall of Bill Belichick. It could be the girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. Oh, Manny, you're a Bostonian. Oh, interesting. So you're following it. I was watching the Bill Belichick presser. I don't know how many of you you care. I don't know how many of you are New England or if you're Pats fans or follow the Pats, but so Bill Belichick watching that press conference, it threw off my prep work for our call today. 100% it threw it off because it was fascinating. And he happened to be one of the topics this week. Chris Mann. Yeah, you're New England, Chris. I think we've officially moved into ruin, legacy, and reputation territory. Oh my goodness. I can't say who I did it with because it hasn't been announced yet, but I did something about Bill Belichick that's coming out in the future. He is a study. He is a study in reputation and what happens when you lose control of it. So let's just talk about that this week. This is what we always talk about, right? This is what I like to do. Let's chart who's having a good week, who's not having such a good week. I was on the road. I was traveling. I could not hop on live on Friday for normally our news dump day because I was traveling. I probably could have squeezed it in, but because of the shutdown and TSA and being at a big airport, I didn't want to risk it. I didn't know what I'd be dealing with. So I thought, we'll just hop up on Monday and kind of do a week in review. So let's go through some of the people. Let me ask you this question first, because I want to make this as interactive as possible. Who do you think? Who is on your radar right now? Who are you following? Which stories interest you? Whose narrative interests you right now? Let me know. Manny, Serena Williams' husband. There's a story there right now? What am I missing? What did Alexis do? Okay, let me go to the Goog. What am I missing there? Oh, Stephen A. Smith responds to Alexis Ohanian after a viral Serena Williams Super Bowl exchange. Didn't know that. Confronted him saying he divorced Serena Williams. The tense exchange took place on First Take months after Smith claimed he divorced Serena Williams for dancing with Kendrick Lamar during the halftime show. Well, that was quite a halftime show, wasn't it? Speaking on air. Okay, I missed that. I did not know that. When I first saw dancing, I went, are we talking about Dancing with the Stars? Which, sidetrack quickly, my daughter Rory, when I was in a hotel, she was texting me because she was watching Dancing with the Stars. She had a question. I thought, I've not watched Dancing with the Stars since it premiered. I'm going to go to it. And I went over there and I got sucked into Dancing with the Stars, watching some of the people, Alex Earl, Ilaria Baldwin. Oh my gosh. Talk about a reputation in the balance. Holy moly. For people who remember the Alec Baldwin back in the day, to see him part of a Dancing with the Stars package with his wife, who's still with the accent. Anyway, okay. I loved Serena Williams dancing in the halftime show. That was fantastic, but I didn't know about this. So thank you for sharing that. What other stories are out there? Like, what are you guys following? I did mention, I'll start here. Oh, I got to write this person. I got to write this in my notes. Sienna. Okay. So a couple things before we get going. Tell me who you're following right now. I want to know who you're following. What stories are you following? And even if you say it doesn't mean that you're a fan or that you actually care. Sometimes there's just a human element to the story that makes it an interesting story. There's an arc there. That's why people are drawn to it. Like, I'm drawn to stories when there's an arc, when we're seeing what's happening. So we have the character, whoever it is, and then we have the event, what's happening. And then it comes up to the kind of the breaking point or the pinch point. And then there's the casualty and the fall or the rise, whatever it is. Beth is saying Chicago. Oh, yeah, the Trump Pritzker ICE Nome battle. But Chicago, oh my gosh, they are doubling down. Chicago is doubling down. These Democratic cities are doubling down. Which reminds me, what do we think? Kristi Noem, SNL. Let's start here now. Let's start with SNL. What do we think? Full transparency, I only saw a couple skits online. I was out on Saturday night. I was at the Emmys in New York City. Chris says so. SNL finally parodying the MAGA women. Yes. Yeah. So Amy Poehler brings in Tina Fey. It wasn't mean enough, didn't land for me. So what I've been reading and what I've been looking at is that SNL has kind of lost a step. I happen to be on a SNL Reddit. Like, Reddit is feeding me the SNL subreddit. So I'm getting a lot of the stuff in there, and I do find it interesting because every year they say this whenever there's like a big cast change, that it takes a while to get them under the feet. But I have a quick theory, and I want to know what you guys think, because I was talking about this on Sunday at breakfast with people. SNL, they bring in all these new people. So they get rid of like the Heidi Gardners of the world, and they have all these new cast members. But a lot of these cast members are known for being viral people, or they're on TV shows that appeal to Gen Z because they want to get younger viewers, right? Like Lorne Michaels wants to bring the younger people in. And we have comedians and online comedians. And I don't know if you're noticing this. And someone gave me the intel. I forget. I've said this before. I was in a green room and somebody told me this, but they were talking about Matt Rife, who's a typical, like a TikTok comedian. A lot of these comedians, and I went to a show when I was in Chicago, when we went to visit Kate in Chicago. We went to the Laugh Factory. I think there's a Laugh Factory in there. And Kate made us sit in the front row. Like, I don't want to be here. And I'm sitting in the front row in view of their TikTok, and their video camera. And I am not the person you want, because comedians have to be funny to make me laugh. And I'm tired. I'm saying like, oh my gosh, we've already been drinking and I'm just like so tired, and I'm just sitting there and I realize I have to check myself, like, oh, I have to act like this is funny. A lot of comedians in real time, like full flow, are not funny, but their TikTok bits are. So my SNL review is that they're going for these kind of TikTok people, but they're not SNL funny. And it's not catching on. I know we're only 2 in, but like an Amy Poehler, who's very funny, but Amy Poehler kind of needs people around her to be funny, in my opinion. I mean, she's naturally a very funny person, but where she comes to life is when she's surrounded by funny, which is why she works with Seth and Tina and the people. But it's sputtering, in my opinion, because they're relying so heavily. And a lot of these funny people aren't that funny. So that's just my opinion. Manny, I think it's interesting that it was legacy cast versus new cast. Could it be because they don't want to be canceled? No one wants to be canceled, right? Yeah, but I think, if we talk about legacy, that's a good way to look at it. I like that term, legacy. It's people who were picked for maybe improv talent, uh, stage presence talent, but they're bringing in people who are just kind of viral people. They're not legacy. Chris, you like some of new cast members, like who? And Beth, it wasn't mean enough. Yeah, and it just wasn't like I saw the the Amy Poehler Pam Bondi skit, which was funny and very typical Amy Poehler, but she needed other people to be funny. And when the members in the hearing, I mean, they kind of nailed the impersonation, the impression, but it wasn't funny. But that's just me. That's just me. So SNL right now for me is like right here. They got to start doing something, because they're leaving these guests kind of hanging because we're not. And then this morning I watched Amy Poehler, Bowen Yang at the Juilliard School, like doing the TV show theme songs, and that just But that was just me. Okay, Manny brought up Dolly, so let me tell you about Dolly Parton. Last week, well, Dolly Parton is here. Will Dolly Parton ever be down? I don't think so. I don't think she's capable of ever being down, ever. But Dolly Parton, we all noticed, so it was maybe a week ago, she puts out a statement on Instagram. So black background, white font, not super easy to read, but at the bottom it says Dolly, with a heart. Announcing that she is canceling her Las Vegas shows, not residency, but Las Vegas shows. And she said, kind of like a doctor's orders, I need to do my 100,000-mile checkup. Nothing's wrong, but, I just have to do this. So no alarm bells. I mean, though sometimes when people see that, people get, concerned, but it was well written. It was perfect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And it would have been fine. It would have been fine. But two other things happened. One, and I only found this out from searching after I was in on it, after I was like locked in on the Dolly story. She was supposed to appear at an October Halloween event at Dollywood. And she sent a video saying she couldn't be there because she was under the weather. And I don't remember if that message, and it was video message, so you could see her and you could see how her voice isn't there. Her voice seemed raspy, like she has a cold. And I don't know if she said it or if I read it somewhere that there was like something with a kidney, but nothing major, again, nothing major, but just something that came up. Let me go to the notes too. We have some more comments. I will go back to those because I missed those. So that was happening. And then also happening at the same time, there were two parks owned by Dollywood, but not Dollywood, but owned by the company that were closing. So there's some mixed messaging out there that maybe Dollywood is having problems. So now we have that story, the business aspect of the story. But then Dolly's sister, Frida, goes to Facebook and posts, "We need the prayer warriors out to pray for Dolly." And I don't know, it had the feeling of someone who really wasn't thinking, "Oh, this will go viral. This will get out." It's just, "Oh, I'll tell my family, friends, and just a few people, fans, that we need to pray for Dolly." She wasn't thinking that, like, the world pays attention to Dolly Parton. So that went out, and then what happens? It gets picked up, becomes a news story, and then everyone's worried. Then there was a follow-up on Facebook where she said, "My last post, I didn't want to scare people. She's fine, so on." So I'm in my hotel room doing a post that I wanted to spend 15 minutes on, and I spent like 3 freaking hours on it because you just get in it. And I couldn't get a hold of my team to help me with the video. I was dealing with the Wi-Fi, and I was getting really frustrated. So I researched it and I posted it. And just when I hit post about Dolly, just talking about the whole response of it, Dolly Parton, God love her, posts a video of, "Hey, y'all, I know some of you are thinking that there's something wrong with me. I can assure you that nothing's wrong with me." I mean, it was perfection. It was perfect. And there I was. I spent all this time on this video for naught. But in it, I refer to Dolly's rep, Ollie. Okay. And because, of course, you have to do a riff on Dolly, Ollie, and Molly, which I did. But then I'm getting ready to speak next day. From Dolly's team reaches out to me to say, "Ollie's not the rep." And then I got some scuttle. Now, I'm sorry, I can't share it right now, but I'm gonna report back more because I do think Dolly's response was so incredibly good. Like, that's perfection. You just get Dolly out there and make a video. She is my win for the week. I said in my post, she's the win for the year, but without a doubt, she is the win for the week. You know what? So I can see messages better. Let me bring up my live so I can see my apologies. So I can see oh, there we are. Okay, here we go. I could see your comments this way better when I'm in the live chat. Okay. All right. Who else? Okay. So, and I'll do Bill Belichick quickly. Bill Belichick had to come out with statements stating that he is staying at U. Why is my, hold on, I want to get my comments coming up. Oh, there they are. Okay, now they are. Okay, here they come. Okay, so Bill Belichick has released statements because now there are rumors, there's buyout rumors that his tenure at UNC has not been successful. And any New England Pats fan would know that. There's a, everyone's kind of known, the Bill Belichick culture is kind of known. And when you have professional players making millions of dollars and brand deals and everything, it can even itself out like a little bit. Then you have an owner, you have Kraft in there as well. But when you go to college and you're recruiting 18-year-olds and you're dealing with college students, and he brings in his people, his NFL people, you just know it's not going to work. So now the future Bill Belichick is under doubt. And the athletic, so Bill Belichick and the UNC athletic director, I'm not making this up, Bubba Cunningham, put out statements. So Carolina Athletics, Bill Belichick, quote, "I'm fully committed to UNC football and the program we're building here." Bubba, Coach Belichick has the full support of the Department of Athletics and University. Do we believe that? Do we believe it? And Bill Belichick is now the case study in how quickly a reputation can turn and how permanent a legacy can be ruined. Chris says he's committed, but are the UNC boosters intentionally vague? Yes, 100% he should have retired. And Manny, what Bill Belichick did, I think, is because this is what I see in my work. This is what I see in my work, what gets in the way. And what is usually a mark of a successful crisis response and an unsuccessful one when you have the person in the middle. So let's say a Bill Belichick, because it's not just Bill Belichick, it's also UNC. They're being dragged into this right now. So they have to stand by him because they invested a lot of cabbage behind him. Okay, there is a lot of money behind Bill Belichick. And Manny Chris bringing up the boosters. So what do you have when you have colleges and universities? What does it come down to? You have donors. You have donors. You also have an athletic program where there's now, I believe, 2 programs that have been tanked that they wanted to highlight, the Bill Belichick years at UNC, and 2 programs got tanked. Then the New York Times put out an article that I read. I read it on Friday, quoting people within the university system saying, this is a joke. This is a joke. So you always have so now you have the fissures and the fractions and the factions, that happened in the crisis. And so now you got to roll out Bill Belichick to do a press conference, and Bill Belichick hates press conferences. Like a response to Bill Belichick if he's being asked a question. And now, actually, there's a point I was watching it. He was like trying to smile. He was trying to like have an affect, and it's not working. So this is not working. This is a reputation legacy spiral in real time. Manny, he should have retired. Instead, like Brady, he stayed a few seasons too long. People could argue that Tom Brady, though, he got a Super Bowl out of it. And now he's color. And now he's an owner. He should have followed Brady just a little bit more. Would you agree on that one? Best comment I heard is they're just waiting for the right booster to shell out the $20 million buyout. They're waiting for the booster. Beth hubris, right? We always go to hubris. It was striking to see the parents now complain about how their kids were being affected by his behavior, lack of adjustment to college players versus adult. Exactly. What was the anecdote that they mentioned, like kicking out the kid who was sick or wouldn't let him play? Then there's the whole not congratulating Drake May last week until the internet, of course. Yeah, could you imagine? And that game, geez, the Bills and the Pats. And the rumor he mandated no UNC tweets about anything Patriots, which you know what? You know that's true. You know that's true. Did not stay too long. I got you, Chris. I got you on that. So then what isn't coming up right now, but who's always there? Who's lurking in the background of Coach Belichick? Who's the character? Because Bill Belichick is not the main character. Who has main character energy in the UNC story? I know there's a lag here. Who has the main character energy in the Bill Belichick story? Oh, wait. Annie. Mhm. Mm. I don't think she's Beyonce. That would be Jordan Hudson. Miss Maine runner-up, I believe, or second runner-up. That would be Jordan Hudson. She's the main character. She has main character energy all over this. And she was supposed to be in Dancing with the Stars, which would have been a coup for Dancing with the Stars. And apparently it got, I read that New York Times article. It was like on a Thursday morning. I read it on Thursday morning. And they were supposed to start the next day or Tuesday morning, whatever it was. She was supposed to start like that next day. And she yanked it because she was asking too much. So anyway, so that's why the Bill Belichick story, it's going to end in flames. It just is, because Jordan Hudson, the young girlfriend, has way too much power there. Okay, so Ilaria. Very briefly, Ilaria Baldwin. That's another person. Alec Baldwin had legacy. He had a legacy. No matter what we think of Alec Baldwin, he's a phenomenal actor. He's a comedy guy. I mean, he's very good at comedy, but he is a very good actor. I've always said this. Hunt for Red October is one of my favorite movies of all time, and Alec Baldwin is phenomenal in that. He was in Working Girl. There's just so many good Alec Baldwin stories there. But then he marries Ilaria. And Ilaria has main character energy. You know what I'm going to introduce to the crisis world? Main characters. Maybe every crisis has a main character who brings it down. I was having a conversation yesterday with someone. Are they Gen Z? Is 29 years old Gen Z? I don't know. But we were talking about main character, and I could be wrong. But someone who has main character energy is always negative, right? Like main character energy. But when you have that person in the mix, it never works out. Okay. Next person. And you guys tell me your thoughts too. Well, let's just go Bill Belichick. I didn't get a chance to do a post, but I'm going to do a post about this. Is Sister Jean 100% him in Hunt for Red October, right? One pig only. Best movie he ever did. Best movie he ever did. Sister Jean, Loyola University, Chicago, died at 106. Talk about the comparison in legacy and reputation. Look how a name can boost the image of a university and how a name can tank it. UNC, Loyola University, Chicago. Look at the two happening side by side. And if the Cubbies would have won, that would have been fantastic. It would have been fantastic. Absolutely. Okay. So let me go on the list here. Let's see who else. The movie is where I fell. That movie is where I fell in love with Sam Neill. Oh, yes. Vasily? Was he Vasily? No, Vasily was a doctor. I can't remember. Let me see some of your comments here, because my computer only put the newer comments up here. I think they have good talent on screen, but the writers they're hiring are where the problems. Yeah, back to SNL, the writers. I agreed. They cleaned a little bit of house there. Oh, Dory. Dory brings up Diane Keaton. So interesting. I don't know if it's an interesting fact, but 2 years ago, October, I'm at the Emmys, the news Emmys in New York City. And I'm at a table with all these newsies when I get the notification that Matthew Perry died. It was 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, October, when he died. And I went, oh my gosh, Matthew Perry just died. And everyone went, what? Like, that was a big deal. And then Saturday, I was at the table and I said, Diane Keaton. Just tell me really quickly right now, which Diane Keaton movie is your favorite movie? The Godfather is one of my top movies of all time, The Godfather 1 and 2, and she was in it. Not that she made it, but I loved her in that. I am a Baby Boom girl. I loved her in Baby Boom. Love that movie. And the Father of the Bride movies, of course. You love those movies. I mean, I wouldn't say that movie is like a top 10 for me, but I still will watch it all the time because Martin Short, who's my favorite person on the planet. First Wives Club. I haven't seen that in ages, but yeah, that's a good one. Oh, Mora, Something's Gotta Give. I only just saw that movie a couple months ago, or I watched it over the summer. I really liked that movie. That was good. I might want to watch that again. Um, but, if you think about Diane Keaton, does anyone have anything negative to say about Diane Keaton? I mean, that's a legacy. I think she had 2 Academy Awards. I think I heard that this morning, like The Godfather and help me. Can someone help me on that? Did she have 2? Oh, Woody Allen, Annie Hall. I don't think the only thing is when I was looking at some social media posts last night when I was unpacking, there was an interview with Diane Keaton and Katie Couric. When Katie Couric, she had a shag haircut. So they were showing it on CBS. Was Katie at? Oh, that's right. She went to CBS. That was a huge mistake, which I called. I said, this is going to be a mistake. And it was. She was quirky in the best way. Manny, I agree with you 100%. Diane Keaton was quirky in the best way. But Katie Couric did an interview with her, and it was a really good interview. It was good. And they showed it on Sunday morning, CBS Sunday morning, because it just shows how just wired in flighty she is, if that makes sense. Like she's flighty, but kind of locked in flighty. And she's just such a charming person. But in this interview, so I don't remember when Katie Couric was on 60 Minutes, or it was CBS. I want to say 2001, 2008, 2009-ish is when Katie Couric went over there, which was a massive mistake for Katie Couric. She never should have done that. And then went to ABC and had her own talk show. I'm going off track a little bit, but Katie Couric needed to stay at NBC because Katie Couric, like Amy Poehler, did well working off of other people. She did well working off of Matt Lauer. But on her own, it didn't work because she was cute, Katie Couric friendly, and she was first paired with Brent Gumbel, who was kind of, but it worked to have Katie Couric in there. And then Matt Lauer, so she got kind of promoted up to the big sister role. And then Matt Lauer was there, and then that worked. But then Katie, someone filled her and said, "Oh yeah, let's move you to CBS and make you the first female anchor," or maybe she was second at that point. And it didn't work because then Katie Couric had to be serious, and she doesn't have the gravitas to be serious. Katie Couric is personality, but that's me going off of my newsy thing. But I called that from day one. Like, this is going to be a massive mistake. So she gets hired. She has her Katie Couric Media. And she tried to get her husband, John Molnar, into the media thing, but that wasn't working either because he was like an investment banker. No one cares. No one wants to watch him interview people. So I think she does fine. She speaks and she creates her content, whatever. And I love that she goes online, kind of like me, like in the raw, like she doesn't care. Katie Couric doesn't give a shit, which I think is great about Katie Couric, which is she's finally entering her authentic era. But anyway, it was a very, very good interview. But then Diane Keaton says, "Oh, I was just having lunch with Woody Allen yesterday." That was the only thing I can say about, Katie wanted that nightly news spot. Manny, you're right. She did. Because that's what people okay, I don't wanna say this publicly, but I mentioned I was at the Emmys in New York, speaking of main character energy. That's what I told Greg going up there. I said, "Could you please be, like, one of the few anchors to not have main character energy when you go up and present, please?" 'Cause they go up and they present. They go, "Hey, everyone. Me, 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 us. Aren't we the best?" And the nominees are I'm being snarky. Greg's great. He won an Emmy on Saturday. He's great. Thank you. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of cocktails. And I had people in my community come up and say hello, and one guy was so nice. He said, "I saw you here last year, but I didn't wanna bother you." And I was like, "Oh, always bother me. Please." I love talking to people. Okay, so we moved on to Katie. But anyway, Diane Keaton. So she's genuine friends with Woody Allen. Okay, and she doesn't care. She doesn't give 2 Fs. She's like, "This is who my friend." She admitted that she had a crush on him, in the beginning. But, I get it. If someone's your friend and they're tight, you're still gonna be tight with them. Well, I thought, how interesting that you said that in that interview because Woody Allen, cancel culture. Thanks, Chris. Okay. I appreciate that. Okay, so moving on. Where are we? October 13th. October 13th. Moving on to my stories. So Bill Belichick. We talked about Stephen A. Smith, Diane Keaton. Let me go to the list. Does anyone else? So Dory, thank you for that. Oh, but what do you say health speculation? I don't think I read about anything with her yet. The health speculation for me is zero. Do we know anything? But did they date back in the day? Yes, Manny, I think they did date. I mean, she said, but I don't know if he liked her, maybe, but she liked him. She admitted that she liked him. Dan Keaton's so charming. Jeremy Culhane is hilarious. Supposed to drop out. Okay, that's SNL. Oh, Louise. She was just thinking she was posting on Facebook like a regular person. I think okay, that's Dolly's sister. Sorry, I'm going back to the old stuff. Just seeing some of the older things. Does anyone want to add anyone else from the week, last week or heading into this week? You know, part of the reason that it's so difficult to find people now is because I don't know if you're like me. When you go to the newspaper, if you're like me, like every morning I wake up, one of the first things I do is just go to news to find out what horrible thing is happening in the world today. Someone's at my door. Someone's at my door and I can't see because I'm on my phone. Who's at my door? It could be the squirrels who are attacking. Let me see. We're back to, let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at everyone. She made a public opinion last year. And mentioned that Diane had lost a lot of weight. Yes, I did see some of those photos. And she did. Because if you think about it, we only see Diane Keaton in the movies. We don't really see her like bopping around social media. And then you saw some of the photos like, oh, damn. Yeah, she lost a lot of weight. You never got to cover the Swift stuff. It's old news out, but Taylor Swift. Well, Taylor Swift is coming out with a we could talk about Taylor Swift because she's everywhere. Taylor Swift is now coming out with a documentary with the Eras Tour, which I have to say, I think that would be interesting to see. I would be interested in seeing that. But anything else, not so much. And she made $48 million globally. I think it was globally. Or was it 60 globally? For her film. So here's the whole Taylor Swift. Disclaimer. I am not a Swiftie. I do not claim to be a Swiftie. I'd call me fan light. Like I don't dislike her at all. I like some of her music. I liked Life of a Showgirl. When it came out, I ran to it. I was running that morning and I said, this is what I'm going to run to. I liked it. But the fact that I liked it means I think I agree with people that it wasn't very good. I'm going to use myself as a marker because I liked Life of a Showgirl. I kind of believed the people who thought it was mediocre at best because I'm not a good mark of that. I'm not a good mark. Then when I was speaking, so two things happened. I was on the Jason show, which is in 48% of the markets, I believe, in the country, on Tuesday. And they were telling me all the people that they were going to talk about. And then when I got out there, Jason wiped the slate clean. And we were just talking about people we wanted to talk about. And I thought, am I qualified to answer these questions? But one I had prepped for was Taylor Swift because my handler that day, my friend Beth, her daughter's a huge Swiftie. And we were talking about like Blake Lively. They wanted to talk about Blake Lively. And Taylor Swift in one of the videos was wearing this bracelet that Blake Lively has. And a lot of Swifties are speculating like what that meant. That was her rubbing her nose into Blake Lively or sending a signal to Blake Lively. I think it's more of like sending a signal / anything that Taylor Swift does is intentional. There is nothing unintentional with Taylor Swift at all. Nothing. Everything she does is strategic. So when I'm looking at sentiment, public sentiment and opinion on Taylor Swift, there's a lot of commentary out there that Taylor Swift is really capitalizing on capital almost too much. She has every right to. Everybody else does. Like, is Elon Musk getting creamed with this every day? Tim Cook, whatever. I mean, all these big titans out there grabbing for money. Taylor Swift has every right to do the same thing. But there's, because her audience, though, is primarily younger and skews younger, but the news and everyone follows her, some of her some people are saying, could you be a little more empathetic to the fact that the world's burning down around you while you make your money thing? But that's just a thought. Chris, does that cover it? I can't go too deep on Taylor Swift because I have to be honest. SB, Ava Louise and Lilia Gibney. I don't know anything about that. I'm usually not up on my TikTok drama, but I'll look into that if that's something that's interesting. I do the same thing as sometimes end up reading things for hours when I should be doing other things, right? Did she not already? No, well, maybe, but I just saw it today. Like, is there some other documentary? Or maybe correct me on that. Someone made a comment today that stayed with me. Taylor, she said that Showgirl sounds like a high school girl's poetry, and the reason why a lot of us aren't liking it, ooh, us, Manny, are you a Swiftie? Is because we see a 30-something-year-old writing like a high school kid and doesn't live up to it. Yes, I saw that critique as well. Yes, I did see that critique as well. I thought that landed. That critique landed. Because that type of language sells, right? And that's what made Taylor Taylor. She's going back to the well, as it says. Hayley Williams, lead singer of Paramore, she performed True Believer on Jimmy Fallon. Anyone heard chatter on her? No more. No, but other people might know that. Okay. So chime in on anyone else that we are chatting about. I'm always open to chatting. And because I've been gone for 9 days, I haven't been as wired in as I could be because I've been out in the real world. Now, before I go to my next story. Well, Manny, you're a Swiftie. Am I wrong on the doc? Or something that came out, that something got announced today? 4 hours ago. So this is what I saw. Taylor Swift bringing 6-episode Eras Tour documentary and final show concert to Disney Plus. Disney Plus. I wonder, see, Disney Plus, they're trying to recover from their spiral. Their digital death spiral. So there's our answer. We'll premiere on Disney Plus on December 12th. Accompanied by the simultaneous release of a new concert film, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, the final show. I don't know, you guys. Is this money play? Are people Manny, I was just going to say this. Is this a money grab? Is it almost too much? Especially Disney Plus with the recent boycott of Disney Plus. I wonder how much Disney paid for that. Dearly. Victoria, yeah, 6-part docuseries. I'm going to be obvious. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'll probably watch. I don't know if I'll watch all 6. Hayley Williams is amazing because she's doing what so many artists. Okay, I am going to listen to Hayley Williams because I'm now in my Spotify era, my music era. Thanks to Taylor Swift, I'm back to music. I was actually listening to, on my drive back from New York yesterday, Bad Bunny, Mark Anthony. Oh my gosh. She had a relationship with Disney. Disney owned her masters. Really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay. The other person we're going to chime in. I like doing quizzes. Greg does not like my quizzes. He will just say, just tell me. I'm like, no, we're in a car. We have hours to go. You're going to play a quiz. So we're all going to do a quiz here. Who went through a reputational beatdown late last week, political realm, not obvious, not a new person completely. It was a person who was very viral at one time in a very positive viral way. Went viral for all the reasons why a politician needs to go viral. And then last week, oof, went viral in a really, really bad way, highlighting one of the issues that comes up in a crisis a lot. One, I was speaking to a client this morning, and we're trying to prevent something from happening, and we were paying attention to this stakeholder. So who is it? What politician went through a viral scrubbing late last week? Bad Bunny's album is so good. That's the ironic and frustrating thing about the Super Bowl crap, right? But you know what? If you watch like Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico, because that's the other thing I was watching. Well, not watching, I was driving, listening to Bad Bunny and being in concert. Did she mix meds and maybe a cocktail or two? Manny, who are we talking about? The person who I'm talking about? Manny got it. Tara said Chuck Schumer. No, we are talking about Katie Porter. Not a sexy, fun, viral name, but in the world of reputation and story, it's pretty interesting. Katie Porter went viral because of videos that got out about her. And if you remember Katie Porter, she was a congressperson, who incidentally lived right around the corner from my old townhome in DC. And I only knew that because someone who I worked with lived nearby and said that Katie Porter kind of lived in the same development that I lived in. But she was the one who had the whiteboard. She kind of Tim Russerded, when she would have like bank execs testify, and she'd bring out the whiteboard and say, could you tell me, okay, if it's X amount of dollars, X amount of dollars, X amount of dollars, X amount of dollars, can you explain this money? Which, by the way, I did that with a client. I said, we're going to Tim Russert this, get a whiteboard and start doing numbers. And can I tell you, it works. It does. That's why Tim Russert was huge in 2008. Oh, wait, no, was it 8? George Bush, 2001. He died in 2008. And Katie Porter, same thing, whiteboards. You know what works? Whiteboards. But Katie Porter, viral videos of her lashing out at staffers, and it's on video. What a mistake. And then also what happens when things go viral negatively, then the press picks up on it. Press starts doing an interview, and then the press start asking questions, and they start pressing her. And then again, she's showing her real side. And then when things start to spiral, everybody kind of picks and finds all these negative stories. And then there's stories coming out about her divorce that apparently she said, is this in this article? I doubt it. Well, let me do AI real quick. Maybe AI will. Sorry. Katie Porter. I just need to use the word potatoes and this will come up. Oh no, let me go to the New York Post. I went to a TV station. Let me just go straight to New York Post to get this headline. Katie Porter verbally abused then husband in explicit tirade, effing idiot and too effing dumb to operate a phone. That just makes you laugh. So she is the gubernatorial contender right now for to be governor in California because Newsom can't run again. She once dumped scolding mashed potatoes because I don't know, can mashed potatoes dump scolding mashed potatoes on her then husband's head during a fight. I don't even know how much I believe this because if you think about it, if you make mashed potatoes, scalding. I think the word that they wanted was scalding, not scolding. But she was scolding by tossing scalding mashed potatoes on her then husband's head. But anyone in the kitchen knows you cannot dump mashed potatoes on anyone's head. Am I right? And mashed potatoes aren't scalding. Now, maybe scalloped mashed potatoes. So I think, so this is a hit piece, right? The former Golden State Congresswoman's ex-husband, Matthew Hoffman, filed for divorce in 2013 and detailed, an ex-husband lied during divorce documents, detailed that the Democrat who had a reputation for exploiting at her staff frequently abused him verbally and threw toys, books, and other objects at him during their marriage. Hoffman also filed a restraining order from his rage, that's not good, prone spouse, claiming she would routinely call him an effing idiot and effing incompetent. Well, who hasn't been married to an effing idiot and effing incompetent idiot? And shattered a glass coffee pot in their kitchen counter in March when she felt their house wasn't clean enough. She would not let me have a cell phone because she said, you're too effing dumb to operate it. Why am I laughing at this? Who's been in the hot seat this week. And this is, okay, when she gets angry, she will claw and scratch her arms and then say to me, look at what you made me do. Okay. She regularly says that I'm a bad parent in front of the kids. Recently, the children began spitting at me and throwing their food at me, calling me bad daddy. Hoffman claimed back in 2006, Porter blew up over how he was making mashed potatoes, snapping, can't you read the effing instructions? Okay, so now we know that these were instant mashed potatoes. before she raised a ceramic bowl of steaming hot potatoes. So he's lost us. He's lost us. And dumped it on my head, burning my scalp. No. Okay, anyway. Okay, well, he could be true or not, but where this comes into our lane, why we care about it, is once there's one thing, and what she's like, how she's treating her staff in that video, that's not good. That's not good. It's not to act that way. There's no reason to act that way. Even if you're annoyed or stressed or whatever, yelling at someone like, you're in my effing eye line or in my shot, that's not good. Dear white staffers have covered her being terrible to staff for years, scalding, straight from a Medea movie. Speaking of other crisis, she was a gubernatorial candidate. I don't think she'll survive. Yeah, she won't survive this. No, I totally agree with you. I say from personal experience, mashed potatoes are the food that cools off faster than anything in the world. Chris, you're absolutely right. That's why you have to make them last. They're never scalding hot, ever. I made scalloped potatoes a week ago, and they were hot, hot, hot. I put them on the plate with mashed potatoes, ice cold. And that you can't toss them. I totally agree. There's a Trump story about getting mashed potatoes dumped on his head by his older brother when they were children. Have you heard it? No, I haven't. Medea used grits. Grits has a different consistency than mashed potatoes, right? Rice pilaf, however, will stay hot for ages. Yeah, if you go with rice pilaf, you're right. It would. Depends on which carb you use, right? Grits, which white carb that you use. Grits, rice, potatoes. Yeah, so I'm not buying the former Mr. Porter Hoffman story. There could be, there's always two sides of a story in a marriage. There's always. And whenever someone really goes out of their way, like publicly, to bring someone down, I tend not to go with that side of the story. I tend not to at all. But we do know that she has a bit of a volatile temper there. So that will come out. And I think that's going to bring her down. I think that's going to bring her down. It won't go long. All right. So let me see my list. Did I have anyone else on my list? Sorry, you guys. Okay. If we don't have anyone else, we are going to, I don't want to bring up anything with the administration. I don't have it in me. I feel like she left the spotlight when the allegations of her campaign contributions came out. Now this is the other big story. Yeah. It's when they start, it's hard. Jill, I live in California, the largest state in the nation that has lots of exceptional people, but those who run for governor, I'm like, what? I know. Gavin, though, I mean, the Gavin Newsom social media game, and did you notice how the White House is starting to match the same energy? It's interesting, right? It's interesting. Zaddy. That's funny. All right, you guys. Thank you for hopping in on the chat. It was a last minute switcheroo. I do want to tell you guys, especially the members, next Wednesday and Thursday, I have a workshop, free workshop. It's open to everyone. It's what to do in the first hour of a crisis, like when you go viral. We call it like the mashed potato scalding story. It's next week. You know what? I need to add the link to my profile in Substack. So I think I'll highlight it on Substack right now. And I maybe I don't have it in there yet. I'll make sure today that we get the link in there. But the link is also in my bio that you can find it anywhere. I want you to register for it. Okay. And join us. So it's next October 22nd and 23rd. 12 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and then 1 p.m. Eastern time on the 23rd. But for members of Substack, there's going to be something just for you guys, not followers, but the actual members of my vault community in there. We also look for this week, we're going to do a members only live this week. It's just going to be members only. We're going to hop on, probably going to be later in the week. I think Thursday. I just have to secure my schedule a little bit, but be on the lookout for a members only live that's coming out. We can chat about anything off the record. What's set in the vault stays in the vault. I should try to use the right link this time. Louise, that's okay. I don't know how you got the wrong link, but that's okay. Also, remember, if you subscribe to my calendar, we have all the updated links. Deanna, my team, she's so good about putting the links out there. Gavin is winning in social media, but there's still something about him that just doesn't convince me. Manny, we're on the same. Let me predict. Let me try and mind meld you on this one. There's a sense of like lack of genuineness, right? Like performative a little, but you got to give the guy credit. I think Gavin Newsom is the most authentic he's ever been, but he's got past hiccups. He's another one. He's another one had to explain an affair and, all this other stuff with the staffers. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for joining, even for my people from Albany. Thanks for joining. My last joiner. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining me on this Substack Live. We did a quick Monday one. We'll see how it translates into votes. All right, everyone. So again, let's do the link if you want to join me for that webinar or the workshop coming next week. Be on the lookout. We are going to have our own members only vault live. And we're going to start kicking off some like really fun, deep and dirty types of vault. What's said in it stays in it. All right, you guys, that's all for now. Thanks for joining.